Bum 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 bum. Avoiding copyright strikes. Here's the review. So we just got back from seeing Superman, and it is the most James Gunny thing to ever James Gunn anything that James Gunn has ever James Gunned. Now, I am not a huge fan of Superman. Not that I dislike the character. I mean, everybody likes Superman. I mean, he stands for truth, justice, and the American way. Oh, you hear that? It's the internet police. I'm not allowed to say that anymore. Shh, I'm gonna get in trouble. All joking aside, this is definitely a James Gunn film. Written by James Gunn, directed by James Gunn, hair and makeup by James Gunn, produced by James Gunn. Catering provided by James Gunn. I heard more about James Gunn during the production of this movie than I heard about anybody else that's involved with the production. James tends to do that. Now, however you feel about James Gunn and his past and his tweets, it is what it is. But if you're a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, Peacemaker, stuff like that, you'll be happy. And even if you're not a fan of that kind of stuff, I think you'll be happy because overall, Superman, it was pretty amazing. Now, as we've seen with movies like The Batman, and even with Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man, we're skipping over the origin story. Everyone knows Superman's origin story. Everyone knows Batman's. Everyone knows Spider-Man's. So they waste no time getting right into the action. There's literally text at the beginning of the movie. Now, I'm going to keep this spoiler free, just so you know. Basically saying metahumans have been around for this long, Superman's been around for this long, and bam. The trailer shot of him landing in the snow with his ass kicked, that's the opening shot of the movie. And they waste no time getting into the action from there, and they don't really let up for the whole movie. This movie is scenes from a comic book ripped right out of the pages and thrown on the big screen, and that, I think, is its strength. The best thing I could use to describe this would be to say it's very similar to Tobey Maguire's first Spider-Man movie. That's just the feel. This is not Man of Steel. This is not the Batman. This is not the Snyder stuff where things tended to be more of fantastical, but yet tried to be thrown into a very grounded and real world. This is the opposite. This is fantastical in a world where people just expect the fantastical. There's stuff going down. Like you've seen from the trailers, the giant kaiju fight with this giant monster. The people in the world are scared, but you can tell, like, we've seen this before. The Justice Gang shows up, and the people of this world are just used to it. They're used to stuff happening. In the first shot that we got of Superman, where he's sitting in his chair, putting his boots on, and there's this thing, this big giant purple and green eyeball thing in the background, and everyone was freaking out like, why the hell is Superman just sitting there while the city's getting destroyed? In the movie, in context, it'll make sense, but you can tell in this world, for the people of Metropolis, that was just a Tuesday. It's a comic book. All the stuff that happens in comic books, it happens in this movie, and then the mess gets cleaned up, and the people just go on with their lives because, you know what, next week something else is going to come and destroy us, and somebody will come save us, and our buildings will fall down, and we'll repair them, and life will go on. And that's so refreshing that they're not trying to make it as real as possible. I mean, it's in the modern day real world, but it's so nice to just let the fantastical and the crazy happen and just enjoy it. And I enjoyed it when it was happening on screen. I wasn't thinking about, does this make it? It just happens, and it's fun. And that's, I think, the biggest thing that they did right in this movie is just, we're unapologetically a comic book movie. And if you enjoy reading comics, you'll enjoy this movie. and I think they pulled it off really well. So the big question is, how is David Corenswet as Superman? I think he's one of the best Supermen we've ever had. I think he is the closest to Christopher Reeves that we've ever seen. He has that Boy Scout kind of, I see the good in everybody, and is happy-go-lucky, which the trailers may not make it seem. I know there's been a lot of debate when in the trailers he's arguing with Lois when she's interviewing him, and in the context of the movie, you'll understand why, and I think he's justified for being upset, and because ultimately he's just trying to do good, and he's getting crap for doing good. Lois, Rachel Brosnahan, not bad. I mean, I have no problem. I would love to see more of her as Lois Lane. I'm going to enjoy seeing these two progress further. So, the look of Superman in this movie, I know people have an issue with the suit. There were a couple shots where he's walking around, and it's no spoiler, where he's cuffed. You see it in the trailers where Ultraman has him cuffed. And there's a shot in the movie where he kind of looks like a guy in a cosplay outfit. He's not jacked. He's not super toned. He just looks like a guy, which is fine. I don't need the fake Henry Cavill muscles on the suit, or where he's in something that looks like it's impossible for him to move. It works. In this world, the suit works. Other characters, Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, dick. He's a dick. Everyone else has redeeming qualities in this movie, and they joke, and there's, your typical lighthearted James Gunnishness in there. But he's a dick from start to finish. There's a couple scenes where you can get a laugh out of something he's doing, but it's not an intentional, trying to be funny. He is a great Lex Luthor. He's an asshole. He's a dick. He's smart. The stuff that he plans and he's done to mess with Superman in this movie makes sense, seems realistic, and something that somebody would use their brains over brawn, and that's a theme in the movie. I want to see more of him in James Gunn's DC universe now, and I think it's perfect casting. He did an amazing job. As far as other characters go, everyone gets the right amount of screen time. Perry White, Jimmy Olsen. There's one character who is in this movie and doesn't provide much, but I know why she's in there. Cat Grant. She's there for the jiggles. That's all I'm going to say. And you'll see if you go and watch the movie. She's there for two reasons. The only thing I was worried about, excuse me, is Ma and Pa Kent. They tiptoed a line there with them coming across as some stereotypical, hillbilly hick people who live on a farm. The first scene that they're in, I was like, you're just trying to make fun of some hillbillies here. It came real close to just a bad stereotype, but as the movie went on and they were in it more, it didn't go that route. And there's a very emotional scene with Pa Kent and Clark. It'll get you a little bit, and I think they did well with the cast. I think they played their parts well. Not what you would normally expect from the Kents. Obviously, they're going to change stuff up a little bit, or why make the movie if we're going to keep making the same stuff over and over again? So, I think they did very good with that as well. Crypto also gets a lot of screen time in this movie. He's a CGI dog through the whole movie. He's not a good dog. He's a bad boy. But he's fun, and he has his time to shine. And there's some other characters in there, too, that little side characters that are surprising, that have some good emotional beats too. The Justice Gang. They, in the trailers, I got the impression that they were all going to be a bunch of assholes, and we know Guy Gardner is an asshole. I want to see more of Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. He had more screen time than I thought he was going to have, and he was one of my favorite parts of the movie. So I know he's going to be in the Lantern show that's coming out. Mr. Terrific, great, has a lot of screen time. Hawkgirl was just kind of there. Good to see, but she didn't really play a pivotal role in anything. And then the Superman robots in the Fortress of Solitude, they had some funny bits. That was kind of your comedic side characters that James Gunn likes to do. If I had to nitpick anything, the way Kal-El's parents were displayed or shown, and there's a secret to them that might rub some people the wrong way. I won't get into any spoilers on that. Me not being a diehard Superman fan, it didn't upset me at all, but I could see where it might take some people out of it. But other than that, there's not really too much to nitpick. The fight scenes are good. The CGI is not bad. I know people were picking apart some stuff in the trailers, but when it's all in action and it's going, I didn't see any like plastic face Superman really in any shots. And I was invested in this the whole way. I laughed. There were some good comedic parts. There's some good heartfelt stuff in the movie. And I really do think if this is the start of the DCU, I think it's starting off on the right foot, and I think James Gunn knocked this one out of the park. Going forward with a more comic booky world, I don't know what that's going to mean for Batman. I don't know what that's going to mean for other characters. There's a cameo from another character towards the end of this movie who has a few lines, and it's your basic James Gunn type dialogue. This character says, "See ya, bitch," to Superman. So we'll see this character again soon. Yeah, so honestly, I recommend going and seeing it. This is a movie you're going to want to see on the big screen. And I guess to give it a final score, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I think it hits all the right beats. I think it's refreshing. I think it's nice to step away from the super grounded and super like, this has got to be realistic in the real world and everything has to make sense. And it's not that the movie doesn't make sense, but like you could just go in with no expectations and sit back, relax, and have fun. And it was fun. And I took my 8-year-old with me, and she had fun when she wasn't getting antsy in her seat because it's a 2-hour movie and kids these days' attention spans are... But all in all, I think great movie. And yeah, 9 out of 10. So go check it out. And if you like the review, if you like the info, let me know. We could talk spoilers after you go and see it. Just let me know, and I can do another video with a spoiler review. Thanks so much for watching, guys. You know the routine. Like, subscribe, follow, send messages, send comments. Let's talk, and I'll see you guys later.